We are hearing from the Phoenix police chief after two of his former officers were arrested for a violent traffic stop. Antonio Felix and Luis Vasquez were arrested just hours after being fired for aggravated assault and kidnapping. During the August 5th traffic stop, Vasquez is accused of punching the driver repeatedly, while Felix allegedly tased him and the passenger.
So court records show the victims reported that incident to Tempe police and that the former officers initially denied that they were involved, but eventually they acknowledged they were part of the stop after they were questioned. So both officers have been on the force for nearly a decade, but again, both of them fired, both of them arrested. And Phoenix Police Chief Matthew Giardano joining us now in studio. Thank you for being here, Chief. I appreciate it. None of this makes sense to me. And I feel like we're missing some pretty, concrete information here. You have two officers who've been on the force almost a decade, so they know the rules, but they got out of their car after stopping this other car, had their cameras off, didn't call it in, and then, according to the charges, really roughed up these two people. What would be the motivation to do something like that?
I'd hate to speculate on what their motivation was. Our job is to try to find out why. So I still have a lot of unanswered questions myself. So we're still working through the criminal investigation as well as the internal affairs investigation to get that information.
And have you interviewed them at all? Have you spoken with those officers, and who is doing the investigation?
Okay, well, there's two investigations going simultaneously. So we start with the criminal investigation. So we have detectives that work out of our special investigations detail, and they do nothing but investigate crimes committed by any city employee. So they're members of the Phoenix Police Department, very specialized investigators. They're doing the criminal portion of this investigation. Then the internal affairs investigation is being done by our Professional Standards Bureau. So those are sergeants that work in professional standards that investigate misconduct violations amongst our police officers.
So I assume that these two former officers are being asked what they were thinking, why they did this. You just can't share that information with us, correct? Did your investigators have these answers?
We have some of those answers. Obviously, there's two sides to every story. So we've interviewed the victims. We've gotten their account of what occurred. We have some evidence that corroborates a lot of what they told us. And then we have interviews of both the former officers. Now we're just working together because, again, those stories don't match completely. They're very similar, not completely. Again, we're just working through that. I really want to know exactly what happened.
Yeah. These are some really serious and violent allegations and, some serious charges. I'm curious, what was your initial reaction when you first found out about this? Because Tempe PD, they're the ones who reported it to you. What did you think?
Yeah, they said they thought there were people impersonating officers, that they couldn't believe that, actual officers would do something like this.
Yeah, and I understand where they're coming from, and I was very thankful they did reach out to us. When they took the initial report, the female officer that took the report did a very thorough investigation, documented everything, created that relationship, because as you can imagine, the victims were fearful to talk to any police officer because they don't understand the difference between a Phoenix uniform and a Tempe uniform. She built up that relationship. She was able to ascertain what the victim said, understood that, realized it happened in Phoenix, called us. We all believed at first it was impersonators because it was so outside the bounds of normal police activity. As our investigators start working on it from an impersonator standpoint, they realized there was some possibility that it might have been on-duty Phoenix police officers. They transitioned it to our special investigations detail, who took it from there and were able to corroborate that it was indeed on-duty former Phoenix police officers.
And your department is handling this investigation. What would you say to members of the public or a critic out there would say that you shouldn't be handling it? Somebody else should handle this.
Yep. For me, it was about having control of the timeline. This is very important to our community members. I've been getting calls for the last week and a half, reference this matter. They want it resolved. They want resolution. Just like you're asking me today, what happened? When I send a case outside to a different agency, I lose control of the timeline. It might not be their priority. It might be something they put on the back burner they'll get to. And we have a lot of really good relationships, but there's timing issues. When I can control it and let our investigators just take them offline from everything else, and this is number one priority, we can get it done as quickly as you saw that we did. What I will do, though, is and when we are done, I will be an open book. We will share that with the community and let everyone see what we did, and they'll be able to read the reports for themselves and know that our detectives did a phenomenal job, very thorough investigation.
So when we're talking about a timeline, when you are done, when is that expectation?
Well, you got to understand there's a criminal case that's forthcoming. we will never get ahead of that because we don't want to prejudice a jury. We don't want to somehow impact the criminal trial. So we'll have to let the court process play out as we're gathering additional information.
You know, you have hundreds of very good officers on your force, and I can't imagine something like this is sitting very well with them. What's the reaction like within the department?
First, I say thousands, not hundreds, because we have an amazing force. What I say to them is we have robust policies. If you come into work, work hard, follow our policies, keep your supervisor apprised of what you're doing. But most importantly, and I said this earlier today to someone else, I've stolen it from the fire department, be nice. Start with being nice. It's really easy to be nice. And treat people well and professionally. Hold them accountable, treat them well and professionally. I will support you 100% of the time.
Yeah, that's kind of the back of the house. But what about the front of the house? When the public sees a situation like this, obviously it's such a black eye for the entire department, even the good officers. What is it that you want the public to know in light of this?
I want them to know that, one, you should always report to us if you believe you got less than professional service from a member of the Phoenix Police Department. We can't be out on every single call with all of our officers. So if you see something you don't like, you don't think it's proper, first and foremost, if you feel it's safe to do so, ask for a supervisor. A supervisor by policy is to come out and talk to you and figure out what's going on to get to the root of any potential problem. If you don't feel comfortable with that, call when you get home. You can call the Office of Accountability and Transparency. It's a standalone city agency with the city that has oversight over our finalized internal affairs investigations. So again, there's mechanisms to bring forward to us complaints about the professionalism or the service you receive. But please, we want to be transparent. Listen to us. Bring concerns forward, and we will address those.
And we appreciate you coming in today, and of course we're going to stay on top of the story, and thank you for being transparent, and we'll have you back in again once we get some more answers here.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you for what you do in the community as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.